Welcome to the Weekly Annex, your go-to source for in-depth analysis, insightful discussions, and the latest updates on the stories that shape our world. Whether it's politics, culture, technology, or global events, the Weekly Annex is here to bring you closer to the heart of the matter. Let's welcome Guy Dizon to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Of course, we're going to do this on a regular basis. This is very exciting. A premise we both thought about, and I think people need to find some different perspective to their, daily consumption of the news and the news, never-ending news cycle. Needs to have, a little bit of diversity, a little bit of second opinion, shall we say. Two minds are better than one, so let's jump right into it.
Wow. With that spirit and diving in actually, and we're having various topics to cover. Biden's D-Day visit that makes an American paradigm shift actually. A very important concern that the people are observing that the Biden's speech is the coming American election and which party, it's a Republican or I don't know, but the people have to decide who is winning
Indeed.
war. And but it's actually kind of, I'm seeing in a way, Guy, it's like a war between two parties right now, because it started at the January 2024 and it's heating up.
Yes, it is. It is a Cold War, in politics. There are, of course, instances of hot war. But mostly cold, cool. It's simply, another parade of optics, look good for the camera, give a couple of speeches, a couple of nods for, our troops, the American troops. Memorial Day is a national, of course, international celebration in remembrance of the heroes that fell on the shores of Normandy, of course, on D-Day 1945, the invasion of Normandy that ended, single-handedly ended the Second World War. So Biden, schmoozes up to all the world leaders, taking good photos, very aesthetic angles and photogenic captures. So unfortunately, I don't want to be sarcastic on the matter, but I think you have to. And unfortunately, this might be the next to last celebration of D-Day with living veterans from that era attending the celebration and the commencement and the rituals. So it's very unfortunate from that perspective.
Wow. And Guy, what I am observing here, especially when it's come to American election and all, so right now the Trump conviction, and I have seen the recent post from Trump Trump account, a social media account. He have raised 141 million in just 1 month, right? So it's a kind of a massive amount. I never seen a kind of any previous president or a candidate have raised this much of amount in 1 month. But actually, what's happening, Guy? I don't know what's intention of the American people, but people love these two candidates. But when it's come to the election campaign, the attacks that they have trying to force on each and every person is kind of it's a kind of a norm in a way of a competition. But who is the right president for a country is the people should decide this one, right? But the problematic stuff
ideally.
The media and all, the mass media,
ideally the people should have, free reign, they have the liberty, the right, presumably, they have the right to their own voice and their own vote. Something that people throughout history, you know, the entirety of history did not have such a privilege to be able to go to, you know, the voting booths and voting stations and just pick whoever candidate they deem to be fit for office. Unfortunately, Trump's conviction, you know, is a nice segue from Biden's, you know, photo op tour and session. You know, as I mentioned, you know, rubbing the shoulder with giants, with other giants of heads of state.
Yeah.
So from that angle, Trump's conviction and you know, guilty verdict seems to be a strict opposition to what is happening in the White House, where American politics are just you know, they are ramped up to 300%, you know, 4,000 miles an hour.
Wow.
The never-ending news cycle, you know, fuels that beast of interest and, of course, bipartisan, you know, support does not exist. There are only two camps, you know, that exist in this rural America. You know, nobody cares to know what they're talking about or why they're voting for someone. They're not they're not judging their characters, you know, correctly. They just vote on a whim. So if Trump would have had a tweet that had, you know, 20 million replies, he would have been sitting today in the Oval Office as, you know, as commander-in-chief. You know, his tenure as a president would have been elongated by by at least another 4 years. His presidency and tenure in office would have been, you know, prolonged for at least the amount of time. So let's talk about another pressing issue, and is the first woman Mexican president. You know,
Wow.
she was
Guy, this is a very interesting topic, right? This Mexico's first female president, right? A lot of people have no idea who is she, and it's actually a paradigm shift in that country. And I think this Mexico's election will be a lesson to other nations.
She's a scientist, a physicist, you know, a Nobel Prize laureate for peace.
Wow.
Yes, of course. So she and the other, you know, another group of climate scientists were awarded the prestigious, you know, Nobel Prize for peace, for advocating for, of course, reforms in, you know, sustainability, climate change, environmental sciences, you know, meteorology, geology, everything that comes along with it. And she's a very astute, renowned individual. She almost single-handedly managed to thwart thwart the coronavirus from spreading, advocating for reform. People did not need to segregate or quarantine because of some of the moves she pushed forward and presented and brought to the table. Predominantly Catholic country voted into office a Jewish and a woman, and the non-religious woman at that, into office. So that's a kind of a miracle in the political sphere.
Yeah, one of the largest democratic exercise is underway. So European Parliament election is one of the very, very important part in economies and the business and the each and every individual, because it's the election way they're gonna comments it's kind of a different way. It's gonna held for 4 days, and the powers they have, they can control the IMF and World Bank organizations and the funding stuff and all. So
370 million people are eligible to vote for the European Parliament. They are voting for 720 different parliament members. These decisions will, as you mentioned, shape and form the new face for Europe for the next 20 years. So it's not something to be taken lightly. So the economic...
Yeah. And Guy, when it comes to finance and the markets right now, so the AI technologies are very high. And the chip maker, the Nvidia.
There's a new kid in town. Nvidia is set to topple, the stock, the stock throne, shall we say, to dethrone Apple from its net value. It's total gross value of a company, and specifically the stock market value, because Nvidia technology was very integral in the revolution of AI, and a lot of different technological components were used, manufactured by Nvidia. So, Apple phone sales have plummeted to an all-time low this fiscal year, and they don't know if they can recover Apple's image. It doesn't matter how many celebrities they will hire, people like Elon Musk with his own company AIX that also deals with the AI field and machine learning, of course, in conjunction with his other company, Neuralink. So we have to keep our finger on the pulse to see what happens with that. But in other news, Italy is offering up houses on the market for appreciating them or selling them for $3 or above $3.
Wow.
Listen to this: a town in Italy called Sambuca de Sicilia, and of course the correct pronunciation is Sicilia, is offering houses up for sale on the market for as little as $3 or just above $3.
Just $3?
Just $3, you have to be quick about it because it's for a limited time, So,
my God.
So just do it. Yeah, go there now. Yeah. So they're offering up houses for as little as $3 or just above, the markup of $3. They're just the local real estate market is just can't be justified. They cannot get rid of any real estate, so they're just offering it up. Probably the prospect of the place is not as good. Maybe you don't have any financial prospect. Maybe there aren't a lot of scenery, or a lot of theaters, or social gatherings, or event venue halls, or anything that's equivalent to that. Perhaps it's a very barren place.
But Guy, $3 is insane.
It is completely insane.
And
so it's a very significant discount already.
Guy, and we're having a very important news that in China, 13 million to sit in an exam. So what kind of thing is happening there actually? This is
not just any exam. Not just any exam. It's the Gaokao, university entrance exam for 13 million Chinese that will try their hands at the exam. The exam is considered, by standardized testing as the toughest, exam that's conceived throughout the world. So it holds this standard, and exceeds the standard for any other superpower or any other country. It is a general knowledge exam.
And 6 planets, right, line up in the morning sky, which is one of the important, significant to see. And it's a very miraculous thing, and no one gonna see in every day. This is a kind of unique stuff, and people don't want to miss this opportunity. And Guy, what is your thought on it?
Yeah, if you were fortunate enough to see this very rare cosmological and astronomical event happening, that's great for you. It's a very rare occurrence, cosmologically speaking. But in order, it's not that you see, the 6 planets as a whole, in a kind of a panorama. You don't see them like that. You see them individually pass, through the parade, because you are not able to perceive the entire picture. You have to take it frame by frame. So it's one planet passing and then another planet. So that's why it's called a parade, because you have to zoom so much that you can only see the circumference of a single planet. You cannot see the entire 6, as they're passing through. So it's a miraculous view, and of course I recommend everyone to try and look up footage on YouTube and other social media to actually try and glean, some portion of that experience, of that occurrence. And so I think we're done for this week. This was the weekly Annex, hosted by Ash Allen and myself, Guy Dazin. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.